Good afternoon. 안녕하세요. Today, I'd like to talk about the great attributes of true love. Why do we have to live for the sake of others? What is surprising is that love, joy, happiness cannot be produced by themselves. If we can create love and happiness on our own, we never have to live for the sake of others, isn't it? However, it is a surprising truth that the attributes of love and happiness and joy can only be felt when we live for the sake of others. For example, suppose the earthquake occurred and everyone died. And only one pretty woman like Miss USA survived alone. Let's say she has been alone for a week, then a month has passed, and 2 months has passed. Is that woman happy or is she lonely? What do you think? If she can feel and create joy and love and happiness by herself, it does not matter if no one is around her. So in conclusion, why should we live for the sake of others? It is because love only comes from object partner, not from your own self. So when we truly care for others, when we can feel love and happiness and joy. So the reason why we have to live for the sake of others, in other words, according to the principle of the universe, doesn't have any choice. It's short. It is what? It is no choice. Universal principle is like that. Without loving people, without caring people, without living for the sake of others, I cannot gain any happy and joy. That's why we need to live for the sake of others. Because love comes from other person, object partner. That is the reason we need to serve people, giving first, sacrifice for others, and be humble down for others. And the first attribute of true love, according to Father Moon, the first attribute of true love is to seeking to give first. Father Moon described the attribute of true love as follows: a love that seeks to give and forget, to give, forget, and give again, that seeks to give, forget, and when it can no longer give, grieves, shedding tears. How amazing is the attribute of true love? It is a love that gives and forget and gives and forget, and want to give, and when we cannot give because there is no more, it is a love that turns around and sheds tears. Give and give and give and give, and completely forget what I have given, and still want to give more. This is the nature of true love. Many people do not know the nature of true love. Give and give and give and need to forget and still want to give more. The attribute of true love is like a love of our parents. The love of parents are unconditionally giving love to their children and always forgetting, giving and forget, giving and forget. And how can I give more? That is the heart of the parents. It is an unconditional love. It is a love of unconditional sacrifice, that sacrifice and forget and sacrifice and forget and sacrifice and forget, willingly, voluntarily, completely forget what I have sacrificed for my children, still want to sacrifice more. And also it is a love that is unconditional invest for children. invest and invest and invest and forget, continually invest until my children become better than me. Wow, what kind of the nature of true love is? What our society and school and nation need today is a leadership of true love like parents. It is a leadership with true love that unconditionally give and forget, unconditionally sacrifice and forget, unconditionally invest and forget until my object partner become better than me. My brothers and sisters, I completely melted, inspired by Father Moon's explanation of the nature of true love. And then, how do we apply true love to our lives? Father Moon said, the principle of true love is to give first and then receive later. On the other hand, unprincipled love is to take first and then give later, or even forget the love received without returning it. The principle of true love always try to initiate first rather than receiving. If we apply our true love, always try to initiate first rather than receiving. If we apply this principle everywhere in the family, society, nation, and world, what kind of the world will this be? At home, if a husband gives first and serves the wife gives and first and serves the husband, the parents give first and serve the children, and the children give first and serve the parents. And in the country, if the national leader gives first and serve the people, and the people give first and serve the country, company, if the parents gives and first and serve the workers, and the workers give first and serve the company, what kind of the world will come? The truth of the universe is very, very simple. It is to give first and forget. If we give first and serve others like this, the kingdom of heaven will come automatically. However, many people do not know this basic and simple principle of true love. If you always give first, then you will definitely develop and grow and multiply. But if you just receive and receive and receive and receive, then things get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they don't develop and grow up and multiply. What is your relationship with your people? Is your relationship developing or retreating? If your relationship are giving first time, then your relationship are developing and growing and multiplying all the time. How about your relationship with your wife? Is it developing or getting worse? If it is getting worse, then it means your relationship is just a receiving type of the relationship rather than giving first. How about your nation? Is your nation developing or declining? In terms of the both moral and economic development, if your nation apply the principle of giving first and helping other nations first, helping the world first, then automatically it will receive many blessings from heaven. If America serving the world, if America really helping for the sake of the world, I think as long as God is alive, God surely bless this nation of America. If your nation just wants to get something from other nations and take it for granted after receiving, then it will be continuously declining and retreating. We need to change our internal attitude and thinking. We have to apply universal principle of true love everywhere. Father Moon, our founder, Father Moon, interesting, very special about the guidance. He have all kind of spiritual experience, and he's traveling here and there from the hell and paradise and the kingdom of heaven, and then he share about his substantial experience. That's why he talking about here, human beings were created to live in three worlds. Human beings were created to live in three worlds. Firstly, we spent around 10 months breathing water in our mother's womb. Secondly, we spent perhaps 100 years on earth breathing air. And lastly, we shed our physical bodies and live for eternity in spiritual world. Then, how can we breathe in spiritual world? We breathe love in spiritual world. Since the spiritual world is indeed the world of love, we cannot live without love. Therefore, we need to live a life of accumulating our actual results of love on earth. When we die and go to spiritual world, we cannot take anything. We cannot take money and any property. According to our founder, Father Moon, we can take only the achievement of love. So, how do I know how much I have accumulated the achievement of love when I go to spiritual world, when I die? It is very simple to check. We know that when that person dies and we attend a funeral, how many people truly grateful for him in tears for the achievement of love in my life? If I truly live for 10 people would cry with tears. If I live for 100 people, 100 people would shed tears for me. Since the patriarch living for the sake of the nation, when they die, the whole people of the country would cry. Since the saints live for the sake of the world, people around the world remember them even though they die. Look at the Mother Teresa. Look at the Jesus' life. Look at the Muhammad's life. They lived for the sake of the world. They lived for the sake of others. Then, why is giving first and how to gain eternal life? It was said that true love is giving first, right? Then, why should we give first? I'm going to explain this a little bit. This is a story actually I experienced while educating many ambassadors for peace. There was a tribe leader from a country who was a paramount chief with a very high position. However, he once attended our seminar. He was a man who had never served others because he had already been respected and served because he was at the highest position in the tribe. Actually, the nation system is not political system is secondary. Tribal system is really first. That's why paramount chief is like a kind of more higher than prime minister and president. However, this paramount chief attended our seminar, and my recommendation, I realized that true love is giving first. And went back to his hometown, he really practiced it. He told me that, he said, I cry maybe 2 times in my life. First one, when I was born from my mother's womb, maybe I cried. Secondly, I cried after hearing Dr. Yong's lecture, True Love is Giving. He confessed that looking back in his life, he had never given anything to anyone. He even said that he had never given love to his wife, but he was only served. But he was moved by my lecture and went back and practiced giving first to his wife. For example, here, then man and then his wife, husband and wife. For example, let's just say this man, after come back or hearing from my lecture, he really first time he tried to initiate and gave the 50% of the love to his wife. The wife who received the 50% of love from her husband for the first time, she was so moved, not moved. She felt very, very strange. She was worried because her husband wanted to go to be good to her because maybe he came to death. But as time passed by, she realized that it was so sincere. It was really true. So let's say that a wife who received 50% of amount of love from her husband gave 100% of love to her husband with the thought of the returning something. Nature of true love. When I receive something, and then my original mind say that the nature of true love say that you need to give more than you receive. That's why this wife received 50 amount of love from her husband, and her original mind stimulate her to give more to her husband. That's why she returned 100 amount of love. And then this husband so surprised. Wow, I just give 50 amount of love. My wife returned to me 100 amount of love. Wow, what Dr. Yong said, this is true. And then this husband so inspired. Okay, then I need to return to my love to my wife more than 50 amount of, more than 100 amount of love. And then this husband decided to give to her that how much? He decided to give to her 200 amount of love. Wow. This wife was so excited. And then she find what the taste of true love. And then she also determined to return to her husband more than 200 amount of love. How much do you want to give? She determined to give 400 amount of love. Oh my God. So exciting. And then her husband decided, wow, I really now understand what the real meaning of true love. Give. And definitely come back and increasing more. Okay, then I need to give more than before. And her husband decided to give to his wife how much amount of love? Her husband decided to give 800 amount of love. Then this wife really feel overwhelmed and try to return to her husband how much amount of love. So now 50 become 100, 100 become 200, 200 become 400, and then 400 become 800, and then maybe husband calculating maybe 1,600. I am telling you, Father Moon said, love is not calculating. Love is giving unconditionally. Unconditionally. Love is touching someone's heart. Where there is love, always touching people's heart. That's why this wife really determined to give her husband, not just 1,600, make him so surprised. She decided to give how much amount of love? 2,000 amount of love. Wow, amazing. And then later on, his wife came to me and also listened our True Love seminar. Both of them now, they are still supporting our Father Moon, Mother Moon's activity. I am telling you, true love is what? The more you give, become greater and greater and greater and greater and greater. Bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That is the nature of true love. However, the more you receive, getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, just only your own self feel very lonely. You are the container of your love is so narrow and so small. That's why we need to really expand. Our content of love and heart become bigger and bigger and bigger and living for the sake of others. And then my heart become grow and bigger and greater and greater. And you never perish. Through the giving, I can gain eternal life. Wow, how amazing it is. You know, the more you give, the greater love is. On the contrary, the more love you receive, the less it is. Then why is giving first? Because true love is that the output is greater than input. The law of dynamic and the law of love is different. The law of nature, our input is much greater than output. However, the law of love is different. Output is much, much bigger than input. If you invest 10% and then 20 come out. If you invest 20 and then 50 come out. That is a law of true love. That's why eternal life is only possible in the law of love. However, there is one thing in all creation that can ignore the law of dynamics. That is love. What happens to love? When there is an input of 10 energy, it comes out with a plus. When really loving a partner, the energy of love does not reduce but remains forever. Therefore, eternal life for human beings is only possible in the law of love. When there is no love, energy consumed. Do you understand? You have to understand this. This is Father Moon's guidance. And Father Moon again re-emphasized. Love is replenished by giving. Therefore, it can continue forever without being an existence centered on love. It is impossible to last forever. You have to give with the heart of the parents, Father Moon said, or the result will be collapse and failure. You have to give from the position of a servant with total sincerity, shedding tears, having the heart of the parents. When you give, you mustn't give with authority or with a pompous mind, or it will cause a reaction. Who shed tears first? Not the one who receives, but the one who gives. He should be first to shed tears. This is the parent's position. I have a really incredible and life-changing experience when I was young, just 12 years old boy. At the time, in Korea situation is miserable, just liberate from the Japan, and then Korean War occurred. More than 30 million people died. At the time, the Korean situation completely disaster. Really nothing. In such a situation, when I look at my neighbor, everybody poor. If you have 2 meals a day, wow, you are so rich. When I was young, I never take 3 meals a day. Sometimes one day, one day a meal. Sometimes, 2 times a day, like that. And whenever I go to the school, very far, it takes more than 2 hours by small train. Go up to the mountain, go down, finally reach my school. It takes a long time. And when I prepared to go to the school, and my mom came to me and she shed tears and she said, "Hey son, I'm so sorry. I could not make lunch box for you. Please forgive mom." Every morning she tell me. I said, "Mother, never mind. and came to school and attending class normally finished by noon. And one day my teacher came to me and talked to me that, wow, your Korean calligraphy is very, very beautiful. Our school going to have the, calligraphy competition very soon. Why don't you be a representative of my class? I can teach you. Please remain after school. Yes, teacher, I will do that. And I remain. He brought all the equipment, by Chinese ink, paper, brush, everything. And then he showed me how to write. And then I practice. He's so happy because I am doing very, very well. At the time, my age is just 12 years old. And my teacher said, hey, boy, did you have lunch? I did not say anything. Maybe he knows most of the children know lunch. He asked me again, do you have lunch? I just keep quiet. He asked me again, do you have lunch? I say no. And then he went back his office. And then he brought his own lunch box and give it to me. He told me that. He said, my wife always prepare 2 lunch boxes. One for lunch, the other one for dinner, because I work very hard until evening. So I give you one for you, and then, I can go back and having a dinner with my family. No worry. You keep it. You please eat. And I really, really appreciate that. And then when I open the lunch box, oh my God, rice is there. And then fried egg. I never tasted fried egg at the time in my life. I was so surprised. And then in front of the teacher, I ate everything. So delicious. Next day he brought. Third day he brought. Almost 1 week he brought every day for his lunch box. And then one day I want to drink water, and then I get out from my classroom and I look at over there, public, tap water. And then one tall guy stand there and then drinking tap water and then look at the sky. And then again, he drinking water and then look at the sky. I came to understand who is that man. Then later on, I noticed that he is my teacher. He did not have 2 lunch boxes. He only have 1 lunch box. Oh my God. And then I came back to my classroom. I cry and cry and cry and cry. And I determined, if really God does exist, if really God is alive, I pledge that I don't want to be a bad boy. I want to resemble my teacher. I want to be like my teacher. Please, God, help me. That was my determination. I had an incredible life-changing experience. My brothers and sisters, that is a true love. True love is what? Unconditionally giving and giving and giving and giving. Try to give totally. When you give 100%, it is returned to you. The reason who give will never ever perish. Heaven protects those who give. If you give, you will definitely receive. If you give, power is generated. Whenever I give something for others, always my power is generated. When you give the most precious thing you have, not left over. When you give, do it silently, in secret. Today, I share with you, my brothers and sisters, what is a true love? True love is seeking to give first. And then when you give and forget completely and still want to give more, everybody practice this kind of the true love, giving first and forget and try to give again, unconditionally giving, unconditionally sacrificing, unconditionally investing the object part until my object partner become better. That is the nature of true love. How to live for the sake of others? First, through giving first. Thank you very much.